Hi and welcome along to Sonic Academy. Today we're joined by an American producer, DJ, composer and classically trained pianist who's had releases on numerous labels, including Anjuna Deep's Exploration 16 no less. Would you please welcome to Sonic Academy, Laura Meehan. How are you doing, Lauren? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How about yourself?
I am good. Sorry for getting you up at an ungodly hour. It's what time in LA at the moment?
It's 9:10. It's not too bad.
It's not
Not
too
too
bad.
bad right
No.
now.
But you were talking off air, they're saying you're a bit of a night owl. Do you love working late into the night?
I do. I'm quite a night owl. I don't know, the night is where my inspiration comes strong. So I usually spend my times here late night. I have my whole little hue light system going on, so I make it almost like a nightclub in here. And I like to work late hours. I mean, everything kind of becomes a little cave. I can just completely black out the lights and I won't know what time it is. Get
Brilliant.
lost in it completely.
Let's chat a bit about the studio because actually I've been on your Instagram and stuff, and has it just been finished? It looks really, really nice, to be honest with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I've actually been working on this project for over a year. It's just a bedroom that I turned into a studio. So I did install insulated walls. I have acoustic panels, wood panels, foam panels, and it's small. It's actually small. It might look big in the video, but
It does.
it's cozy. And I put a lot of intention into it. I wanted to create a space that was safe and inspirational to me, and it's all white. So it has because I put all the lights in pink. I
Yeah.
wanted to create like a female kind of girl cave in here. So yeah, I mean, it's all done now. We just finished it up.
And is it been are you doing it bit by bit, or is it something you've just plowed a lot of money into and went, you know what, I'm going to go for this and do it, or?
No, honestly, it was not as expensive as one would think. We really just used like hanger racks, just racks basically that you would hang out your clothes or for shutters or shades. And I basically installed the hue lights onto them. Bought the hue lights off Amazon. The only things that were pretty costly were the acoustic panels and obviously doing the insulated walls, but everything else was. Yeah, I mean, I had everything else. I bought the carpet, and that was really just it. It looks nice, but it's really just intention.
I mean, it looks like a lovely working. Look, I mean, I've seen the photographs and went,
Especially.
I want to work in that space. It's I mean,
Thank you
it
so
is lovely.
much.
And that's so. I mean, I literally, when I get off this call, I'm going to rip my place apart because it's kind of. I don't know whether yours. It kind of after about 6 months, it just becomes an ungodly mess in here, and you just need to rip everything out and clean it up and go get rid of it all. Is that the same for
I
you?
hear
Are you
you.
quite tidy as you go?
Yes. I mean, I'm an exuberant organizer. I'm very, very obsessed with having, everything organized at all times. Although my desk is very cluttered with a lot of papers and, hard drives, external hard drives, post-its. I got a ton of cables because I've been getting into. I've basically evolved and advanced my workflow in this new studio. So I've been working with my patch bay now, which has just been such a delight. So I have tons of cables going on with the patch bay, my MIDI interface, my audio interface. It's messy on the parts where you can't see.
Yeah.
Looks good behind me though.
Literally either side of this picture frame here is chaos, is
Yeah,
utter chaos. I've got
yeah,
that's
cable
yeah. I
chaos.
can just scrape this table clear of mugs and papers and lunch, and then it looks all right on camera. Let's go back. I mean, you haven't been producing that long. You're a classically trained pianist. Is that something you've done from childhood?
Yes, I started playing piano at a very, very young age, around 4 or 5 years old. I started taking little baby classes with a Russian instructor that goes by the name of Stella, who ended up training me until the age of 12 every week. Basically all my childhood. And then in my teenage years, I sort of stepped away from the actual, classes, the weekly classes. But I was involved in choir. I did vocal lessons with an amazing vocal coach named Jeffrey Allens. I was working in musicals. And then probably around the age of 18 was when I started actually working within the electronic music space. But the production really just came in my 20s, which was interesting. Came way later on in life.
And what was the catalyst? What sort of flipped and went? Actually, I want to make this is what I want to do.
I'll tell you. So, I grew up in Los Angeles. Obviously, it's a home of entertainment here.
Yeah.
So, growing up around that, even with my musical talent, I was a bit discouraged at times because there's just so much going on here. And growing up literally in the heart of LA, There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of competition. Everybody's coming from all over the world to pursue a career within the music, industry
Hmm.
or the acting industry, modeling industry. So it was a bit discouraging in my teenage years. So I did actually step away, even though I loved singing music, making music. So it took time for me to return back to that once I think I matured and I got into a space where basically I graduated high school, I got into college, I started interning within different music production companies. Basically, I started with Philly Mac Productions, which is a music video production company. Started working on stuff for music videos. Didn't love that too much. Moved on to working, interning at Dim Mac
Hmm.
Records, Steve Aoki's record
Okay.
label. And found myself still unfulfilled.
Okay.
I was doing marketing and events there. I was doing A&R a little bit as well. And then there was a team of 4 people at the time, and we were all under this man named Lauren. But there was something that was still continuously missing from my life, and it was the actual part of creativity and creating. And it took me some time to really realize what I was missing was creating.
Okay.
So about the time of 21 years old is when I decided to leave everything and go back to school because I had graduated college at this point. And I went back to school to study music production and audio engineering for 3 years in different types of courses and 1 year programs, and it was the best decision of my life because it was risky. I totally walked away from, full-time jobs, but
So I mean that's
it's
really hard to do. Is to go. Do you know what? I'm going to stop it. Not do it in conjunction with working full time and in the evenings. It's like stop everything. Let's do this. And has I mean it's paid off, hasn't it? And quite quickly.
yeah. Yes. I mean, I think when you get into alignment with what your purpose is and what you're passionate about and what's meant for you, then the path is really easy. As long as you are determined, focused, there's sacrifice that is required, determination, resilience, perseverance. If you focus on it, the path is actually quite smooth, I find. I mean, I worked really hard. It's not to say it's not challenging and it doesn't require a lot of work, but um, yeah, I mean, my path has just been smooth, and I feel like that's because I'm in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing.
But I think the path
So
is
I'm
all.
grateful for
It's
that.
also smooth when you've got talent. It's probably when you don't have talent. It's probably a little bit bumpier. It's
Truth. I appreciate that. Thank you.
so
I mean, composing melodies is really just my truest gift. I think like when it came to, understanding how to program drums and understanding everything about drums and percussion, it was more of the challenging part of my
mhm.
production process and learning, in the earlier stages. But yeah, I think melody and creating melodies are really embedded deep within me, so it does make it
I
easier in
mean,
that regard
I
as
mean,
well.
you've worked on music theory and piano and stuff, so you had a real good grounding in what works and harmonies and how to structure things. The drums is probably something that was probably alien to you. You also then, from having worked at Dimac and at video production, you have a good understanding of the other side of the business, the not creative side, and what goes on, what needs to happen in the background, what needs to happen management wise and stuff. Is that's kind of all come together into one package? Is that correct?
That's right. I think that's exactly right, and I think about that all the time because at the time that I was actually working in these jobs, and they were really hard because I was young, and some were internships. The hours were ridiculous. Like call time at Philly Mac was like 4 a.m. I'd leave at 8 p.m. It was
Mm-hmm.
crazy, and I was also managing school as well. It was all part of my process to be where I am today. I learned so much about how to, about a record label, what goes on within a record label, people's responsibilities. It's also why I started my own imprint. And I was a one woman show for the first year and a half of the imprint until now I have 3 other people on board.
Wow.
But yeah, it's taught me so much. I'm so grateful.
And the entry into making dance music and making club music, being a female producer, got easier, has been hard, has been difficult, or I mean, it just seems to be opening up a lot more these days. Is that
Yes. Yes, I mean, I just was recently involved in a female panel on Clubhouse with 4 other amazing female producers from around the globe. And we were talking a lot about this. I mean, today things have shifted immensely, right? it's much more common to see a female producer. And I think women are becoming more comfortable in pursuing this as a career. It's not that it became in trend. I think women were intimidated before to step into this space. A lot of women didn't feel like there was maybe a safe space to learn because, it's male dominant. But now that's very different. And to be honest, in the last 3-4 years that I have been, very serious about this project, I have had only, supportive, encouraging, masculine colleagues around me.
Brilliant.
It's been really nice. Yeah, I haven't had a bad experience at all in my career, and I'm super grateful for that because, it's I mean, it is what it is, right? But I'm just grateful to have a lot of amazing, encouraging, supportive, empowering men around me who I work with. And it's nice because they treat me as an equal. So
Yeah, I think there's been this seismic shift over the last few years, and we've had to reprogram our brains and stuff. But when I was DJing years and years ago, we had lots of really good, strong female DJs then. Not so many in the production space, quite a few in the DJ space, but the production space definitely has opened up, and I love seeing lots of these female producers come through. And it's from techno to EDM to melodic techno that you're doing and stuff. I think it's fascinating and really, really interesting to watch. How do you get from LA classically trained pianist to getting onto Anjuna Deep? Is that hard, or does that come to you, or do you have to fight and battle and email and make connections, and how does that happen?
I fell in love with this whole journey, this process. So this became number one in my life. And because of that, my 100% intention and drive, which I would say that I have a very, very strong drive. I'm very focused. I have an amazing work ethic. I'm very committed. So, it was difficult, but when you're focused and you're consistent, everything will come. Everything will come. Nothing is impossible. So if you just set your mind to it, you believe it's going to happen, you don't give up, persistence, it will come. And that was with every achievement that I've had to date, and everything that will come to me in the future as well. It was difficult, and it's not about making connections. It's about working hard and doing whatever it takes. I mean, it's different in every scenario, right? Everything is different. It's some cases it may be going out and networking and making connections. In other cases, it could just be harassing them with emails until they finally take a listen, because people respect persistence. And if you just email them once and give up because you don't want to bother them or you're intimidated, well, you're not going to stick out. You got to just push, and risks have their rewards. Sometimes it could totally screw you over, but I've learned that taking risks have only benefited me.
Good. Brilliant. Well, let's get down to some nitty gritty about the course. What DAW do you use?
I use Ableton Live Time.
And have you always used Ableton? Ever experimented with any other DAWs, or
no?
Just
I started with Ableton. I love Ableton.
What would be your favorite synth in the studio, hardware and software? What's the two you sort of? Now be careful, because you have to.
We talked about this.
You have to remember we make Anna too, so you have to be careful.
I know. I look forward to actually giving it a go sometime soon. I love my DeepMind Behringer, the 12-voice polyphonic synthesizer. It's my favorite because I'm just all about ambient sounds and pads, strings. It's so powerful, and I think a lot of people actually underestimate Behringer synthesizers, but I am such a fan of it, and I know you have it too. I saw it last time.
I swapped it out this week I have the Native Instruments, but I had the DeepMind sitting here last week until I just changed it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it too.
I love that synth so much. Another one that I love is the Mofo X4 Dave Smith. Dave Smith instruments they're amazing. I don't have the Prophet. The Mofo X4 I would say is like the Prophet, but a little bit smaller. So I'll just say those two for hardware.
Software.
It's hard.
What's
software?
What's Lauren's secret weapons?
UHE and Spectrasonics are my two favorite brands for digital synthesizers. I love Omnisphere. I love the textures and the soundscapes on Omnisphere.
Yeah.
It's what I go to for that. And then with digital with UHE, Diva and Repro, I would say, are
I
my other favorite
Reaper.
digital
Lots of
synths.
people are saying to me Reaper. I haven't. I actually had the alpha, or sorry, the beta of Reaper One. Isn't there Reaper 5? Uh,
Yeah, there's Repro
yeah,
5.
and
That's
one
right.
producer said to me last week. He said he's just using all his tracks are just Reaper 5, and I actually went and got the demo, and it sounds fantastic. Like it really does sound.
It's great.
It's gritty. It's
Yeah, and you can
ballsy.
also
Like
download. Sorry, go ahead.
it's really gritty. It's real got a real dirt, a real anger to it.
Yeah, it's very crisp. It's very clean. I love all the parameters and the modulations that you can do with the digital synth. I mean, it's great, and there's just a lot you can do with, there's a lot of presets that are amazing. Audio 10 just released a new, I think it was Audio 10 that released a new pack of presets for Repro particularly. So yeah, there's just, it's great. It's a great digital synth.
Okay, I know you'll
Um,
change your mind as soon as you open up Anna 2. You'll go, this is a class synth.
I have to give it a
You do.
try. I will. I
It's in your
promise you.
account, isn't it? We've given you a copy, haven't we?
I gotta give it a
Okay.
go. You remind me after we get off
I
this
will.
call.
I'll send you a copy. You're sitting with a blank Ableton 10 screen. It's a Monday morning. It's 9 o'clock. You're bleary eyed. Where do you start?
I always start with my kick and the drums. Always having a good beat and getting that beat to perfection where it could sound good on its own without any melodies is like my whole idea. Because if you have that strong beat that's driving the whole track, for me, it's really easy to just throw on a nice pad, some atmospheres, and a lead. It'll come easily because I'm just listening to this
Yeah,
groove.
yeah.
But I perfect that beat and that groove. So I start with the kick. Usually I don't go to the bass because the bass progression I want to sort of have it's my bass progressions are usually pretty melodic. So I kind of wait till the end. But yeah, kick is usually kick, toms, four different hats, snare, and perhaps yeah, and some other percussion patterns, random percussion
Do you
patterns. That's where I
do
start.
you use loops or are you building everything from scratch?
I like to manually program everything when it comes to drums. So I like to use Ableton's
Yeah.
Impulse, and I use a step sequencer so I'll pick like one hit percussion samples that I like, and sometimes I'll just like randomly, make patterns with a sequencer and then record the MIDI into a separate channel and then move that MIDI back into that channel and then like throw a bunch of effects on that. So that will be like one percussion pattern and then another one. And that's just texture in itself. Then with hats also, I use Impulse. I know the drum racks are the same, but for some reason I like Impulse the most. That's what I use. I usually create four different hats, pan them left to right, and just create a nice solid groove.
Brilliant, brilliant. And
Yeah.
what would be the least favorite part of production? Which part do you go, oh, Martha, I hate this bit? Is it arranging? Is it mixing, mastering, or what is it?
Honestly, I love mixing and I love the whole production process is like a big problem solving thing. I think most producers who like to produce like probably could have been gamers in a past life
Mm.
or like problem solving because it is that. It's like, enjoying the process of hitting a point where you might get stuck or there's a challenge that comes about and working through that. It's a constant learning process and I truly enjoy that because I like to be like stimulated
So
all the
that,
time. I need that.
that's a brilliant way of thinking about it. Is like you're sort of it's a challenge to, get a game challenge. You have to reward yourself by getting past this stage and getting over it. So yeah, brilliant, 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 brilliant.
Exactly.
Uh, what other producers out there, especially female, what other sort of artists is really inspiring you at the moment that you're thinking, go and check them out? They're really hot and they're doing brilliant stuff.
Oh, yes, please. Okay. Bebetta is one of them. I hope I say her name
Right.
right. She's based in Berlin. Another one is Scala, who is a dear friend of mine. I'm actually connected to all of these women as well. It's nice because, we all try to support each other and empower each other. So we're connected through the internet, which is nice.
Brilliant.
So Bebetta, Scala, Elif from Turkey. I would say Anna, who's
Yeah.
pretty much well world known, but she's one of my greatest inspirations. Georgia and Julie from Italy. She's a live act using all these fun little weird toys. Super unique.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Do you know who she
No,
is?
George, I was looking at somebody from, was it Colombia, that's kind of using all these cool toys in a live environment, and her name.
Have to send you her info. She is wow. You just got to watch one of her live sets. She finds these crazy unique weird toys. She records the sounds from these toys live, loops them, and uses them as percussion sounds or drum sounds or even like melodic elements. It's super interesting.
Brilliant.
Very, very unique. I'm really interested in her work, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to, compete with that in that regard, in terms of performance. But yeah, those are the women that I'm really just, really inspiring me. And oh, Made in Paris as well from Australia.
Oh, brilliant. Made, I haven't that's Made in Paris. That name sounds familiar to me.
I'm going to send you a list of these women.
Please do, and what we'll do is when we post post the interview, we'll post the links in the description so people can go and find them. Absolutely brilliant. Have you any plans to go live? You look set up for live, but is it? I know you DJ, but are you planning to take the show live?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I mean, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so it's going to take some time for sure. I've already been, every time I finish a track and it's mixed and mastered, I export the stems. I have a whole live stem folder separated by track because of, I have my APC 40 and I'm already thinking about, how I'm going to, which stems I'm going to group, where I'm going to map it on my APC 40, which,
Brilliant.
pieces of hardware I'm going to bring with me. It's going to take some time, because it's really just, it's not about the actual performance. It's more about making sure that I have a good collection of music that works together for a full
Yeah.
75-minute original set.
Brilliant.
Because my music right now, a lot of my releases, which I like, are very diversified with a subgenre, I guess, within the techno and house realm. So I'm waiting to have enough music that will work together for perhaps 2 different types of live sets. Then I'll go practice. Everything is sort of already.
Just before,
it's all in the works.
I don't know if you know, just before we come on, I was watching a live broadcast of 8Ks. 8Keys. I think she's from
8 keys, yeah.
So she was
Russia.
Yeah, she was just on live there. She's doing an actual live set, and I've kind of been following. She won a remix competition here in Sonic probably about 2 years ago, and I've been following her career.
Oh, wow.
And she's on 1001 Tracklist Facebook page there now, doing a live set, and it looks amazing. So she's nailing it. So
she's really cool.
Yeah,
I've just been recently following her journey as of a couple months ago, and I saw she just put out that EP on Odd One Out. She's super cool. Yeah, I've been really. I just downloaded that EP actually. It's really interesting.
Well, you should go and check her out after we get off this call on Facebook.
Yeah.
It looked like she's in like a bunker or swimming pool with cool lights and all the gear around her, and it looks spectacular. Look, what can we expect? You're doing a walkthrough of your track Tantra. What can we expect to see in that? What are you going to reveal?
Oh, I mean, I really covered it all. I went from how I program my drums, how I arrange my actual session, how I organize my elements, how I color code different, the variations of different patterns, or, if it's a shift in melodic progression. I go into creating textures. I go into how I, compose my melodies. Mixing processes, I dive in deep, anywhere from like, advanced EQing to my favorite digital plugins that I like to use for, enhancing, whether it's distortion, saturation, compression. I try to cover it all, really. I went into. Sorry, go ahead.
You go in deep dive into the creation of the melody lines and stuff, and that's something that you really love. You can hear that you're really enthused about that subject.
Yes. And you know what? Interestingly enough, for this track, I used a digital synthesizer for the lead. It really depends on the track and what's happening. Sometimes I use my hardware and I send MIDI to my hardware and record audio out. Sometimes I use a digital synth. In this case, I did. So I like that because I was, hopefully a lot of people know you don't actually need a nice piece of hardware to create a really dope melody that sticks out. You can work with anything, and it's really just about how you, modulate the sound and how you, the effects that you use, and really putting intention. Everything is like, I always say, do everything, don't rush, is my point. Don't rush, like take your time and really putting intention in everything you do to the sound, because that's what people are going to, feel when they hear that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and then I went through a quick digital master chain people can throw onto their master chain if they want to test it out in the clubs.
Brilliant.
And that's it.
Lauren, listen, thank you so much. We're really excited to have you on Sonic Academy. We're really excited to bring you to our audience, and I think they're going to really, really love you. So listen, thank you very much for taking time out and doing this interview and doing the course for us.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm very grateful. Thank you for having me. It's been a true
No
pleasure.
problem. So the course is now live on the site. It came out on May the 7th. So if you're watching this on YouTube, head over to sonicacademy.com and you can watch Lauren take you through in detail her process of how she made the track Tantra. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us today on Sonic Academy.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Guys,
Hey, I'll send you the list of women that we were talking about, and perhaps you'll send me a little demo of this scent, huh?
Absolutely, definitely, it's a deal. We will post the links to all the artists that you're name checking here in the interview below in the description, so everyone can go and check out. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today on Sonic Academy. We hope to see you all very, very soon.
Thanks everyone for watching. We really appreciate all the support from you guys. If you love this video, then smash a like, and if you want to be notified about new videos, hit the subscribe and notification buttons. Peace!